You walk into your cruise cabin for the first time, drop your bags, and immediately grab your phone to take a selfie with the ocean view. Big mistake. While you're posing for Instagram, you're missing the 15 minutes that could make or break your entire cruise experience. I've learned this the hard way over more than 30 cruises, and today, I'm going to walk you through exactly what you should be doing the moment you step foot in that cabin. Trust me, the selfies can wait. Check your safe before you unpack anything. Here's something most cruisers never think about until it's too late. That little metal box in your closet might already be locked with someone else's combination from the previous guest. I learned this lesson on a Caribbean cruise when I tried to store my passport and couldn't get the safe open. Turns out, the previous guest had set their own code and never reset it. Here's what you do. Press the reset button, usually found on the inside of the door, then set your own 4-digit code. Test it twice. Open it, close it, make sure it actually works with your combination. Don't assume it's ready to go just because it's sitting there looking official. And here's a pro tip. Take a photo of the safe's serial number and your chosen combination, then email it to yourself. If you forget your code mid-cruise, guest services can help you faster if you have that information. But here's the real kicker. Not all safes are created equal. Some older ships have safes that are barely bigger than a paperback book, while newer ships might have ones that can fit a laptop. Know what you're working with so you can plan what actually goes in there. Your passport, cash, and backup credit cards are obvious choices, but you might also want to store extra phone chargers, medications, or that expensive watch you brought for formal night. Locate your muster station information immediately. Cruise cabin has a muster station assignment, and you need to know where yours is before the mandatory safety drill. It's usually posted on the back of your cabin door or inside your closet. But don't just glance at it. Actually walk there and check it out. I once had a cabin on deck 7, and my muster station was on deck 5 at the other end of the ship. During the actual drill, half the passengers were wandering around lost because they'd never bothered to scout the location. The crew was not amused, and it took forever. Know where you're going, how long it takes to get there, and identify at least 2 different routes in case the elevators are crowded or out of service. And here's something they don't tell you. Some muster stations are in much better locations than others. I've been assigned to stations in gorgeous atriums with comfortable seating, and others in cramped hallways next to the engine room. If you're traveling with elderly family members or anyone with mobility issues, check out your assigned station before the drill. Sometimes guest services can reassign you to a more accessible location if you ask nicely and explain the situation. Test everything that plugs in or lights up. Your cabin might look perfect, but appearances can be deceiving. I've had air conditioning. That barely worked, outlets that were dead, and a bathroom fan that sounded like a helicopter landing on the balcony. The time to discover these problems is now, not at 2 a.m. when you're trying to sleep. Flip every light switch, test every outlet with your phone charger, run the water in both the sink and shower, and make sure the toilet flushes properly. Check that the balcony door opens and closes smoothly. You don't want to be trapped outside or inside. If something's not working, call guest services immediately. They're much more likely to fix issues or move you to a different cabin on embarkation day than they are 3 days into your cruise. Pay special attention to the bathroom ventilation. Some cruise ship bathrooms have fans that are so loud you can't have a conversation, while others are whisper quiet. And here's a reality check. If your bathroom doesn't ventilate properly, you're going to have moisture and odor issues for your entire cruise. I once had a cabin where the bathroom fan was broken, and by day 3, towels weren't drying and everything smelled musty. Don't ignore the small stuff. Claim your bathroom space. Like your life depends on it, if you're sharing a cabin. This step is crucial. Cruise ship bathrooms are tiny, and there's barely enough counter space for one person's toiletries, let alone multiple people. The first person to unpack gets the prime real estate. Set up your toiletries, hang your towels, and establish your territory. If you're traveling with kids or a spouse who likes to spread out, have a conversation about space allocation right now. Otherwise, you'll be brushing your teeth with someone's shampoo bottle jabbing you in the ribs every morning. And here's something most people don't realize. That little shelf above the toilet is actually pretty sturdy and perfect for extra storage. But don't just focus on counter space. Think vertically. Those towel hooks can hold more than towels. Hang a mesh bag for toiletries, or use them for robes and pajamas. Some cruise ship bathrooms have a small cabinet under the sink that's perfect for storing extra supplies. And if you're really smart, you'll designate specific hooks for wet swimsuits and towels. Trust me, nothing ruins a cruise bathroom faster than soggy towels draped over every available surface. Download the ship's app and connect to Wi-Fi. Most cruise lines have their own app that becomes your lifeline for the entire trip. It shows your daily schedule, restaurant menus, deck plans, and lets you message other people in your group. But here's the thing, the ship's Wi-Fi can be spotty, especially on sea days when everyone's trying to connect. Get the app downloaded and set up while you're still close to port and the connection is strongest. Create your account, add your cabin mates, and take a few minutes to explore the features. Some apps let you make restaurant reservations, book spa appointments, or even order room service. Figure this out now while you have patience and good internet, not later when you're hangry and the Wi-Fi is crawling. Inventory your minibar and take photos. If you have a beverage package, those minibar snacks and premium drinks usually aren't included, and cruise lines are notorious for charging guests for items they never touched. Before you put a single item in that minibar fridge, take photos of everything inside it. I mean everything. Every bottle, every candy bar, every can of soda. Make sure the photos are clear and show exactly what's there and what condition it's in. I once got charged $45 for a bottle of champagne that was already opened when I arrived. Thank goodness I had photographic evidence, because guest services was ready to argue until I showed them the picture. But here's the thing about minibar photos. They're not just about avoiding charges. They're about understanding what you're actually working with. Some minibars are basically glorified drink coolers with a few overpriced snacks. Others are surprisingly well stocked with local specialties or premium brands you might actually want to try. And some ships don't stock their minibars at all until you specifically request it. Know what you've got so you can plan accordingly. Figure out your balcony door situation. If you have a balcony cabin, you need to understand how that door works before you need it in an emergency. Some slide, some swing, some have tricky locks or handles. And here's what nobody tells you. Balcony doors can be incredibly loud when the wind catches them. Practice opening and closing it quietly. Figure out if there's a way to prop it open slightly for fresh air without it slamming shut every time the ship rocks. And check the lock mechanism. You want to be able to secure that door when you're sleeping or away from the cabin. I've heard too many stories about passengers having their balcony doors blow open in rough weather and suddenly their cabin is soaked. Locate and test your life jackets. Your life jackets are usually stored in your closet or under your bed, and part of the safety drill involves knowing exactly where they are. But don't wait for the drill to figure this out. Find them now, and make sure you have the right number for your cabin occupancy. Take them out of their storage bag and give them a quick inspection. Make sure the straps aren't tangled or damaged. And if you're traveling with kids, check that you have appropriately sized jackets for them. I've seen families scramble during safety drills because they had adult-sized life jackets for small children. If something looks wrong, call guest services immediately. And here's something most people don't think about. Actually try putting the life jacket on. I know it sounds silly, but some of these things have complicated strap systems, and you don't want to be figuring it out during an actual emergency. Make sure you understand how to put it on quickly and securely. If you're traveling with elderly relatives or anyone with mobility issues, help them practice too. The few minutes you spend on this now could be incredibly valuable later. Set up your charging stations. Strategy cruise ship cabins are notoriously short on outlets, and the ones they do have might be in weird places. European outlets, outlets behind furniture, outlets that only work when the key card is in the slot. You need a charging strategy that doesn't leave you fighting over power. Bring a power strip without surge protection. Those are allowed on most cruise lines. Find the best outlet location and set up your charging station there. If you have multiple devices, consider bringing extra charging cables so you're not constantly unplugging and replugging things. And here's a tip most people miss. Some USB ports on cruise ships don't provide enough power to actually charge your devices. They just keep them from dying. Test your setup with your phone to make sure it's actually charging, not just maintaining. But here's the real strategy. Think about when you'll actually need to charge things. If you're going to be out all day on port excursions, set up your charging station somewhere convenient for overnight charging. If you tend to nap in your cabin, during sea days, make sure you can charge devices near the bed. And consider the location of your charging station relative to your cabin mates. Nobody wants to crawl over someone to unplug their phone at 6 a.m. Check your room service menu and delivery hours. Room service policies vary wildly between cruise lines and even between ships in the same fleet. Some offer 24-hour service, others have limited hours. Some charge fees, others include it with your cruise fare. And the menus can be surprisingly different from what's available in the restaurants. Look through the room service menu in your cabin and note the ordering process. Some ships let you order through the app, others require phone calls, and a few still use those paper door hangers. If you're planning to order breakfast to your cabin or late-night snacks, know the system before you need it. Nothing's worse than being hungry at midnight and discovering room service stopped at 11 p.m. And here's something that can make or break your room service experience. Understand the delivery logistics. Some cabins are easier for staff to find than others. If you're in a hard-to-locate cabin or on a deck with confusing numbering, consider meeting the delivery person at the elevator or giving extra clear directions when you order. I once waited an hour for room service breakfast because the delivery person couldn't find my cabin, and by the time it arrived, the coffee was cold and my shore excursion was boarding. Understand your cabin's climate control crews. Ship air conditioning can be either your best friend or your worst enemy, and it's often more complicated than a simple thermostat. Some cabins have individual climate control. Others are connected to a central system. Some have separate controls for different areas of the room. Spend a few minutes figuring out how your system works. Where are the vents? Can you adjust airflow? Direction? Is there a fan speed setting? And here's something crucial. Can you turn it off completely? I've been in cabins where the AC ran constantly and sounded like a freight train. If you can't get comfortable, call guest services. A good night's sleep is worth the phone call. Plan your closet and storage strategy. Cruise ship closets are basically vertical coffins with hangers, and if you don't organize them strategically, you'll be living out of suitcases for your entire trip. The key is to think like a Tetris champion. Hang up anything that wrinkles easily first. Formal wear, dress shirts, nice dresses. Use the shelf space for heavy items like jeans and sweaters. And here's a game changer. Bring some of those vacuum storage bags for items you won't need until later in the cruise. Formal night outfit? Pack it compressed until you need it. This frees up hanging space for everyday clothes you'll actually use. Test your shower pressure and temperature. Cruise ship showers can be hit or miss, and you want to know what you're dealing with before you're standing there naked and sudsy. Turn on the shower and give it time to reach full pressure and temperature. Some take forever to heat up, others have surprisingly good pressure. Check if the shower head is adjustable and figure out how to get the water pressure and spray pattern you like. And here's something nobody thinks about until it's too late. Make sure the shower door or curtain actually keeps water in the shower. I've flooded more than one cabin bathroom because the door didn't seal properly. If there's an issue, you want to know now, not after you've created a swimming pool on your bathroom floor. But here's the real shower test. Time how long it takes to get hot water. Some cruise ship showers need to run for several minutes before the water gets warm, especially first thing in the morning when everyone's trying to shower. If you're sharing a cabin, this becomes a logistics issue. Who showers first? How long do you need to wait between showers? And here's a tip. If your shower takes forever to heat up, turn it on before you do anything else in the bathroom. Check it. The time you brush your teeth and get ready, the water should be warm. So, establish communication with your travel companions. If you're traveling with family or friends in different cabins, you need a communication plan that doesn't rely on cell service. The ship's Wi-Fi can be expensive and unreliable, and cellular service disappears once you're at sea. Most cruise ship apps allow messaging between passengers, but you need to set this up while everyone's together. Exchange cabin numbers, add each other in the app, and establish meeting times and places. Decide where you'll meet if you get separated, what time you'll check in with each other, and who's responsible for making dinner reservations or booking activities. Do a quick security and safety sweep. This isn't about being paranoid, it's about being smart. Walk around your cabin and balcony and look for anything that seems off or potentially dangerous. Loose railings, exposed wires, anything that could be a safety hazard. Check that your door locks properly from both sides. Make sure the deadbolt works and that you can operate it easily in the dark. If you have a connecting door to another cabin, make sure it's locked from your side. And take a photo of your cabin number and deck location. It sounds silly, But after a few drinks and a long day in port, finding your way back to cabin 8247 can be surprisingly challenging. But the security sweep goes beyond just checking locks. Look at your cabin's location relative to high-traffic areas. Are you next to the elevator bank where people gather and talk loudly? Are you near the theater or nightclub where noise might be an issue? Are you on a deck where people walk by your balcony frequently? Understanding your cabin's environment helps you set realistic expectations for privacy and quiet. And if you discover issues that affect your enjoyment of the cruise, now is the time to address them with guest services, not 3 days in when you're exhausted from lack of sleep. The real secret. This sets the tone for your entire cruise. Here's what most cruisers don't realize. These first 15 minutes in your cabin aren't just about checking boxes. They're about taking control of your cruise experience from day one. When you know your cabin inside and out, when everything works the way it should, when you're organized and prepared, you can actually relax and enjoy your vacation. Now, what's the first thing you usually do when you get to your cabin? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious if you've discovered any cabin hacks I haven't thought of yet. And if this helped you prepare for your next cruise, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our latest tips for making the most of your time at sea.